Hello, everybody. This is the Original Business Show. Today, we're interviewing my good friend, Leorin Davis, also known as Leotus.
Yes, sir.
He's a full-time independent music producer, sound designer, instrumentalist, songwriter, and now videographer. Thank you for your time today, as well as for setting up the mics and the camera. So, let's get started. How are you doing so far?
Doing good. Thank you for having me. This is gonna be fun.
I agree. Okay, so let's start off from the very beginning. How did you get into music, and what was your first instrument?
Funny story. So there's this movie called Drumline.
Yep.
Which everyone has seen, I'm sure. It's Nick Cannon. But I watched that movie summer before high school, ninth grade, and I was so intrigued. I was like, yo, I low-key want to do this. Like, drumline just looks like it'd be super dope. With the exception of the whole disciplinary part where you have to do push-ups and, like, it's just, you got to pretty much be very militant. But the music aspect of it was fire. So when I got to high school, it's funny how the universe works. I was getting dropped off on the first day of school, and the drumline happened to be practicing, or the marching band happened to be practicing right there in the front of the school. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is the universe right here. So I talked to one of the guys. I was asking, like, yo, how do I join this? Like, how do I get into, the drum line or whatever? And he brought me to the band teacher. The band teacher was like, yeah, if you want to join, just go ahead and go to your counselor, have your electives changed. And I was in drumline that next day, I want to say.
That's crazy. I've known you for at least 10 years now, and I haven't heard that specific story.
It's fun. It's crazy because I tell the story quite often. I don't tell the full story because it's a long story.
I like that.
But watching the movie Drumline and then joining Drumline when I got into high school was pretty much the base of it.
And while we're on the topic of how you got into music, what was your experience with playing music or playing drums or tinkering with instruments before this Drumline movie, or was that the very first time?
One of my buddies back in the day, Jacob, his dad bought me some drumsticks. His dad was also like an instrumentalist. He played guitar. He was like in a metal band and stuff like that. So I think when he found out that I was like into music, he bought me my first pair of drumsticks actually. And his name was Chris. And he didn't like teach me anything. He just got me a pair of sticks because his son was also trying to become a drummer too. He was way younger than I was, and I think it was just. And I was always over there. We played video games, stuff like that together all the time. And I think that's what kind of that was my first intro into like tinkering with it. And then as I got into drumline, I started to realize like, yo, there's so much more technique that comes that you need to be able to do certain rudiments and rolls and fills and stuff like that. But it was definitely a fun process though. Like I was very passionate about it.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people, they started, their parents played an instrument. That's how they got into it. So your story's kind of interesting that you had this friend whose father plays drums, gave you some exposure. Go ahead.
It was crazy that my family, I have a musical background in my family. Like my dad doesn't do anything musically, my mom doesn't, but my grandparents did. My grandma, she was like a touring artist and stuff like that back in the day, and she's tried to introduce me to music. But I was younger, and I'm over here trying to play on my skateboard and roller skate and do all the other fun stuff. Like music wasn't for me at the time. Cool. But yeah, drumline was my intro to music.
Awesome. Okay, so that was your first instrument. I think we'll go in order of production because did you start producing before you learned the keyboard? I mean, they probably happened at the same time. I want to know how you learned the keyboard.
It was right around the same time. I discovered FL Studio 2007, 2008. I've seen it before, like on my cousin's computers, because I have cousins that produce as well. But I had no clue what it was. It just looked cool to be able to click things in. It was FL Studio. It was cool to like see them click things in, and as the thing passed by, it would trigger whatever you clicked in. And I finally discovered what it was 2008, and I downloaded it on my computer. And I was just clicking MIDI and clicking in my drums and stuff on the channel rack, and just kind of just playing with it until I liked what I was making. And then I started to realize that, I think it was time for me to learn keyboard because I didn't know. It came with sounds. I didn't know how to use them. I didn't know what to play. I was just playing, clicking things in by ear, and if it sounded right, I was like, let's go ahead and roll with this.
So how did you develop your keyboard skills? Because I remember I would see you playing the keyboard, and I'd say, wow, you can make some good melodies, and you'd say, no, I can't play.
Thank you.
And then now you say, okay, I can't play. So how did you go from not being able to play to being able to play?
So a few things helped me. I was in a band back then. A little of me being in high school and just getting out of it, called Thursday Night Out, and I played keyboard for that band. And it was crazy is that I had no business being a part of that band. I just wanted to be a part of something musically. I wanted to play drums, but there was already a drummer. So I started to play. I picked up the keyboard, and me doing that, I was very basic. I used to play with these 5 fingers right here. Like I would literally play like that. I can use all my fingers to play it. And obviously I knew at the time like that's not the way to play, but that's what worked for me. And then as I started to practice with the band, and then I took a theory class in college, and that helped me out a little bit. And then watching a bunch of YouTube videos, like that definitely got me to the level that I'm at today.
Great. And I think I saw on a recent stream you were talking something about playing in one key.
Yes.
What was that secret? Or?
It's funny. A lot of people might be mad at me for this. Well, a lot of like keyboard players, but I don't care. But what got me really far, I'm not gonna say really far, but what got me where I'm at today was learning one key. This is I literally would just learn everything that I could know about C minor. Or sorry, just the key of C in general. So C minor, C major, pentatonic, jazz, Egyptian, like any skill that I can find, I was learning everything about that, and just kind of dissecting what it consists of to play in those scales and stuff like that. And and now I understand the keyboard a lot more just because of that.
Cool. A little advice for the aspiring keyboardists and music producers out there. How did you grow as a music producer? So you picked up Fruity Loops, you saw your cousins clicking the buttons and triggering sounds on the timeline. Tell us more about your journey of starting with FL and then getting really good at it.
So like I said, 2008, I finally got FL. I feel like I didn't start getting better at making beats until I got into the band, because that's when I started to understand what notation and playing keys. I started to get better at it and understanding how to go about it, and that definitely took me to the next level. I feel like being in that theory class made me understand what I was doing a little bit better, and then I was just kind of just doing that for a long period. Like I didn't change my routine at all. I was just doing that, just watching a bunch of YouTube videos on one key. I think that answers your question, right?
Yeah, it does, yeah. What were the first genres that you were really big on producing?
Oh man, at that time when I got into producing, I was listening to a lot of like Jay Dilla, Flylo, Sam I Am, After One, Battle Cat, a lot of the intuitive producing, technical producers, like they would do all kinds of swing and it was just a bunch of swag in the music that I just felt like was very unique. So that's what I was trying to imitate at the time. Those were my biggest inspirations. Like I was doing that. I didn't really get into the whole trap thing until like way later. Okay. I was just primarily just hip hop, just underground hip hop.
Dope. Cool. So in the last 5 or so years, you've really gotten a lot of placements. You got the Levi's commercial with Justin Timberlake, the song you did with Sage BC and Travis Miller. Really good throwback, retro type of song, really cool sync. You got your Be For Real record with Blast. You did co-write with OT Genesis. How did you start networking with so many people and really getting more traction?
Mingling with with the music scenes in my city. That's how I started to realize like I needed to get out the house. Like at the time, I think we were on like Facebook and the beginning of Instagram, and I'm thinking that if I just post things on there, I'll be okay. But it wasn't working out in my favor. So I realized like, yeah, let me just start going to these hip hop shows and these concerts and stuff like that, and just talk to people and participate in the shows, doing the beat battles. That's what really got me where I'm at today, is the beat battles. Like I used to, every time I seen one, I would join it. Like even if I just wasn't prepared for it, I would just do it because I want to hear my music on big speakers. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's like one of the biggest things, just going out and just going to shows and seeing what your city's got going on with as far as the music scene goes.
I heard your name was pretty feared in the beat battle circles.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Very modest. Sounds like networking was a really important tool for you, getting out of the house, meeting people in person. How about with sessions and stuff? Because there's so many producers, there's so many artists and A&Rs.
Yeah,
you've really built your connections. Is there any tricks?
Honestly, I think it just comes with the territory of going out and mingling with people and networking. Because you get so comfortable in your space, you know, in your studio. And I think it's important to just try new things. Just try to be in other environments, because you never know what's going to happen. Like I can get a call tomorrow that Kanye wants to work for whatever reason. And I got to be prepared for that mentally and physically. Because I think if I was introduced to that, you know, those opportunities early on in my career, I would have been scared. You know, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to bring. I just wouldn't know how to handle myself in that situation. You know, and I realized that, you know, now that I am working in rooms like that, not Kanye, but like, you know, I'm working in pretty, you know, prestigious rooms, I would say. Yeah, they're just people that just wants to make music like me. That's all it is. And they want to be a part of what I got going on sonically. So I look at it that way, and it prepares me for whatever is thrown at me.
We talked about what basically the hip hop industry, but you've got that music sync with the Justin Timberlake commercial, and you're working with the music sync supervising company. Can you tell us briefly how you got plugged in with them and what opportunities that brought?
So it's funny. So the Justin Timberlake commercial that I did with Sage and Travis, so originally my buddy Curtis King got hit up to do that one. Yeah, shout out to Curtis King. He originally got hit up to do that one. For whatever reason, he didn't want to, or he felt like he didn't have the time for it or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. But he's like, yo, you want to take this gig? Like, you can kill it. And that's exactly what happened. He sent me the gig. I talked to the supervisor at that company. I forgot what the agency was, but they talked to the representative. He's like, yo, we need this, like a Motown type record. We want it to sound like this. And we did it on the first try. Wow. And there's a few revisions, of course, but like we nailed it. And that's how that came about. And then after that same guy loved that song so much that he sent that music out to a bunch of other agencies in LA, and one of those being Barking Out. And now I'm constantly working with Barking Out, and because of them, I've got to work on so many different you know, jobs and get opportunities to work with other artists. Like they're the reason why I know Problem.
Wow.
You know, and they're just super dope over there. Like Barking Out is they have a great energy over there at that agency. When you ask, like, is networking important? Like, how did I go about networking? And that just happened organically. Like, it was an accident. I didn't have to find this agency or apply. It just kind of came about, just word of mouth. So that also comes with you going out, right? Like, people see what your talents are. They see what you got going on, and now they want to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's how all this happened, with being able to work with that company and all these people that I've worked with in my career.
Beautiful. I love that.
It's a I'm not gonna say it's a double-edged sword. It's a gamble, because the thing is, when you're sending beats out, because I've done this before plenty of times where I've sent beats out, and I want to say maybe 1 out of 10 of those beats got listened to and recorded to. But it's always better to get in the room if you can. Obviously, it's really hard to do that. You know, it's you gotta figure. There's no specific way to maneuver on how to develop relationships. Like I can go on the street and develop a relationship with a random person easily because they're accessible. But a lot of these artists try not to make themselves accessible like that because they already they feel high valued, which they should, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's why I show out so much and I try to show face so much, feel like that I can show what value I have. And that's why I feel like I've been able to get into these rooms, because they understand that, you know, I can bring a lot to the table, not just a beat maker, you know what I'm saying, a producer that just sits in his room all day that wants to get placements. Like, I do this. You know what I'm saying? I actually make music and I'm very intuitive with it.
The next question is, what advice do you have for aspiring music producers to find their own niche as opposed to the fallacy of getting major label placements with big artists? So it's kind of related to what Curtis King was talking about, but maybe you don't have to find a big artist. You can get with a music supervisor. So we've kind of already touched on it, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like going back to what I was saying earlier, like just mingling with anybody in your city, like finding the music group that fits your personality, that fits your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're I feel like you should definitely develop chops with the people that surround you, because these people might become something that's amazing, and then now you guys are just working together forever. Or maybe this is you working with the local rappers and singers is getting you geared up to be able to work with the big artists, because now you know how to run a session, you know how to record, you know how to help write, and you know, just kind of give direction, be a producer. And I feel like that's happened for me. You know what I'm saying? I've worked with so many people in my city and outside my city, and now I just feel like I know what to do when I'm in any session at this point. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I feel like my advice is just work with as many people as you can. Honestly, get those chops up.
Absolutely. I've seen you on Instagram stories. It's like every day it's a different session, different producer, different artist, different writer. So that's great advice. And that also goes like you and Nabian coming from the same city.
Yeah,
both,
shout out Nabian.
Shout out Nabian, really good guy. Might do an interview with him if he's interested. But you guys have both gone on your own career paths, but also still work really closely together.
Oh yeah,
and still stick with your city.
Yeah, Nabian, man, he's one of the most hardest working people I know. Like it's just so great to see what he's doing, and he's definitely, excuse me, he's definitely inspired. You know, like his work ethic has inspired what I do every day. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to network. He's ready to make 10 beats in a day. He's ready for whatever. You know what I'm saying? And as you can see, it works for him. Like he's gotten Grammy nominated, worked with Kanye, Drake. You know what I'm saying? And this is because he's doing what he can when he can. And I need to do more of that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because he's a very talented person, so he can get it. The possibilities are endless in his career for sure. So yeah, shout out to Nabian.
So you are a full-time music producer. You don't have a job right now.
No.
You don't have a corporate job. You're not working at. Okay. So can you share your income sources, not how much money?
Yeah. So I will start off by saying my last job was in 2018. I worked at a warehouse, which I actually kind of liked the job. It was cool because I did the same thing every day, so I knew what to expect. My schedule was the same every day, so it was kind of like, it became routine. Obviously, it's not ideal for a music producer, but my thing is responsibility is always number one, regardless of what I got going on or whatever it is I want to do. Responsibility has got to get taken care of first, because if I don't, then I can't do what I want later. So I quit that job in 2018. I saved up enough money, paid off debt, bought the gear that I needed to work on the career that I have now. And my sources of income is selling beats, selling drum kits, placements, royalties from placements, sync deals.
Are you doing sessions with artists?
Yeah, sessions with artists. So that's also like the selling beats and stuff like that.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
Recording. Oh yeah, recording as well. Mixing. Yeah, man. Anything else to do with audio, like I'm doing it. Yeah, that's what's bringing in the bread.
Can you share any exciting projects you're working on? Now I know in the music industry, it's a very sensitive thing to talk about who you're working with, what you're working on. It's better to say after it's come out. So if you can't answer this, there is no pressure. Just put it out.
Yeah, no worries. Right now I'm working on an album for myself. Don't know when it's dropping, but I'm just putting together a lot of music as we speak, to figure out what's gonna work for the project. I'm also doing a project with my buddies, for Problem. That project's gonna be pretty cool. What else am I working on? Those are the two biggest projects. I'm working on a lot of stuff. Those are the two biggest projects as of right now. And then there's like a bunch of stuff that I'm doing with like the homies and like this, like, you know, regular clients and stuff like that. But those are my two biggest projects that I'm excited about.
I'm excited too. And the last question to close us out, in the general sense of being an entrepreneur, but also in the specific sense of being a music producer, what advice do you have for aspiring music producers from your journey?
I know this sounds very cliche, but it's the truth. Just make music every single day if you can. Practice every day, do your research, be passionate about it. Don't just do it because there's money in this. I feel like if you really love making music and you're really into music, everything that you want is gonna come. That's my biggest advice. Just love what you're actually doing, be passionate about it, and everything else is gonna follow through.
Oh gosh, Leotus, thank you so much for your time today. This was a fantastic interview. I learned new things about you, and I hope the people out there got something from this.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, man. It's your boy, Oh Gosh, and we are here with the Original Business Show.